everyone, it's Lindey. Welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to go over some very basic formulas that you can use to achieve $1,000 a week in profits in your online selling business.
Hey, I'm Lindey, a real-life work-from-home mom with multiple online businesses. I like to buy stuff, sell stuff, make money while saving money, and have some fun in the process. Be sure to subscribe if you'd like to learn how you can do it too, and follow my journey with new videos every week.
Lately, a question that I've been getting a lot is what exactly you need to do to achieve making a certain dollar amount in profits every single week in an online selling business. And so today I wanted to do exactly that. I wanted to go over some basic formulas to give you an idea of what reselling model might suit you best for the amount of profits that you want to achieve on a weekly basis. Now, I do know that a lot of you that might be watching this video are brand new to my channel, and if you are brand new to my channel, welcome. I am so happy that you're here. If you're watching this video now, it probably means that you have an interest in starting your own online reselling business on a platform like eBay. And so this video I am making to help you kind of understand the numbers and know what would be involved in order to achieve a certain dollar amount in profit every single week. So now, of course, I have to add the disclaimer that this video is for entertainment purposes only. The formulas that I am giving are strictly examples and from my own personal experience. So results may vary. They might not be typical. There's a lot of variables that go into a reselling business. And so these numbers are just for demonstrative purposes, just to give you an idea of what you can shoot for and what can be achieved. And if you are new to my channel, I hope that you will subscribe and stick around for more content. My channel is full of a lot of dedicated videos to online selling, whether it comes to sourcing merchandise, shipping merchandise, or listing merchandise. So if you're interested in getting into the world of reselling, I hope that you will click that subscribe button, ring the notification bell, and give this video a like. So now the reason why I picked $1,000 for a week in profits is because that is based off of a $52,000 salary at any standard job. That's considered median for a full-time income. And so if you're looking to become a full-time reseller, $52,000 a year is a really standard baseline to try to hit to replace another form of full-time income. But you can definitely use these formulas in order to scale it down if you're just looking to, supplement a side income, or if you're just looking to add a little bit of money into your weekly income to help pay for groceries, or if you're trying to pay down debt, something like that. Doesn't mean that this formula is only going to work for making $1,000 a week in profits. You can scale it up or down however you see fit. So the first thing that you need to do is figure out exactly what selling business model you're wanting to do, because there are various business models that you can pick from. Goes all the way from a higher volume business model with a low profit percentage per item, all the way up to a really low volume with a really high profit percentage per item. And now for some examples, because it's a lot easier to break down by number of transactions to see how exactly you can build $1,000 a week in profit. $1,000 profit every single week could be equivalent to 400 units sold at a $2.50 profit per unit, 200 units sold at a $5 profit per unit, 100 products sold at a $10 profit per unit, 50 items sold at a $20 profit per unit, and 20 items sold at a $50 profit per unit. So now it might sound like a better option for you to sell less items during the week and make the same money rather than selling a huge amount of items at a lower profit per item to make the same amount of money. When you're moving more merchandise, it is typically a little bit more work. However, sourcing those items is definitely a factor. Now, finding those items that sell for $50 profit per item are definitely a lot harder to find. If they were easy to find, then that's what everybody would be selling. So what you really have to do is think about the sourcing opportunities that you have to help decide what kind of business model is going to work best for you. For instance, if you have a really wide knowledge of unique one-of-a-kind pieces and you have the ability to source those items, you might be looking to build an eBay store based on unique items that sell for a really high dollar amount, generating a really large profit per sale. But if you're somebody that does not have that kind of knowledge and you don't have access to sourcing high dollar items, then you have to look into what you can source and what your knowledge is in. Now, keep in mind, everybody can learn categories, but if you're just getting started selling, you definitely want to try to stick with a category that you know. For instance, if you know a lot about jewelry, you might want to start with sourcing jewelry because you're already comfortable enough in your knowledge of that, rather than starting in a category that you really have no knowledge of and you risk potentially spending money on merchandise that you don't truly know its value. So now if you've sat back and thought about your different sourcing opportunities, what you have knowledge in, and you've determined that a higher volume store is best for you, what you would end up considering being a sourcing opportunity for the higher volume eBay store would be something like replenishables, wholesale, or liquidation. Those would be opportunities where you wouldn't have to spend a lot of time hunting for merchandise. That would be the kind of situation where you would just have orders shipped directly to you for listing online and then shipping them to customers when they sell. Because you would be doing a higher volume, you wouldn't necessarily be wanting to list unique one-of-a-kind items 400 plus times a week. You would want to be getting merchandise that you can have multiple quantities of so that you can ship them when they sell over and over again. I would never recommend somebody create an eBay store with unique one-of-a-kind items that profit less than $5 every single time. It is just way too much work involved in creating a brand new listing from scratch every single time to achieve such a low dollar amount in profit. And from that, I speak from experience. If you are brand new to my channel, you probably didn't know that years ago, I sold a lot of clothing. They were used clothing items. They were unique one-of-a-kind pieces, but they did not generate a lot of profit per sale. And so what was happening was I was constantly having to create brand new listings with unique keywords, unique photos every single time. And it was very, very easy for me to basically cap my income based on the number of items that I was able to successfully list every single week. Because if you are working on your own and you are creating an eBay store that you are operating yourself, you are going to reach a cap because there are only so many hours in the day that you can possibly put up listings. And so if you're having to create one-of-a-kind new listings every single time you have a new product that you're listing for sale, and that profit is only a couple of dollars every single time, it's really, really hard to scale up and make more money because you only have so much time to list in a day. So if you're going to have a high volume eBay store with a lower profit per unit sold, you're going to need to find things that are replenishable that you can relist again and again without having to create a new listing from scratch every single time. Now, if you do have the ability to source one-of-a-kind higher dollar merchandise, then you would be looking at the business models where you're selling anywhere from 20 to 100 items a week to net your $1,000 profit. If you're going to be taking the time to handpick items and list them one at a time for resale, I do highly recommend that you shoot for at least a $10 profit per unit sold. Now, these might be items that you're hand picking at shops or thrift stores or garage sales. Or these could be higher dollar items that you're having to pay a little bit more for something like wholesale. Now, if you're purchasing merchandise wholesale or direct from distributors, that's when you need to be targeting a higher dollar amount for those items because they are going to cost more for you to source. So you really need to sit back and decide exactly what kind of eBay store you want to have. And that is going to be based on the amount of time that you have to list and your ability to source merchandise. If you have the ability to hand pick unique items that sell for a higher dollar amount that give you more profit per item, then you'll have a lower volume store to reach your $1,000 every single week in profits. However, if you do not have access to hand picking higher dollar amount items, then you would be looking at more of a high volume kind of store where you're turning lower profit items more frequently. So now here is your real life example. I am personally a higher volume eBay store. I will typically sell anywhere between 100 and 250 items per week in my eBay store. I have personally made the decision to do that business model based on a lot of key factors. The first one being that I do not have the ability to go out and source high dollar merchandise. I live in a very rural part of Kansas. I don't have a lot of sourcing opportunities near me, and the sourcing opportunities that I do have to go hand pick items, they don't bring a big dollar amount in resale. So for that reason, I have chosen to purchase liquidation to have delivered directly to my house, and then I just list in high volumes and multiple quantities. And then here's an example of a low volume seller that I know. She lives in California. She has sourcing opportunities in beautiful high-end clothing. And so she sells high-end clothing in her eBay store, and she averages about a $20 profit every time a clothing piece sells. So her business model is based around picking beautiful, one-of-a-kind designer pieces and flipping them online at a higher profit per piece. She has decided to do that business model because she lives in California in an area where beautiful designer clothing pieces are in abundance. So it is going to be up to you to take a look at what sourcing opportunities you have around you to decide what business model is going to work best for you. Now, the other factor that you have to consider when you are trying to reach a certain income goal in reselling is the sell-through rate of the merchandise that you are attempting to sell. The sell-through rate is very important because that is what's going to indicate exactly how many pieces you need to have listed in order to regularly achieve your income goal. And the reason why that is so important is because it is very, very rare that anybody has a 100% sell-through rate. And that means that just because you list 100 items on eBay does not mean that all 100 of those items are going to sell over the course of the next week. It is very typical that as a seller, you have to list significantly more items than you sell in order to achieve the income goal. So how you find your sell-through rate is this. You take the number of items that you have sold divided by the number of items that you have listed, and that will tell you what your sell-through rate is. Now, there are other ways to figure sell-through rate. A lot of sellers prefer to figure out their sell-through rate based on the total amount of items they have listed in their eBay store at the time versus what new merchandise they have listed in the last 30 days. I personally don't do it that way. I like to keep track of my sell-through rate by how many items I have actively listed in a 30-day period versus how many have sold in a 30-day period, rather than taking a look at all of my active listings overall in my entire eBay store. So depending on who you ask, they might tell you to figure your sell-through rate differently. But how I prefer to figure my sell-through rate is the amount of items that you have sold in 30 days divided by the number of items that you listed in that same 30-day period. For example, if you sold 250 items in 30 days, but you listed 1,000 items in that period, that makes your sell-through rate 25%. So based on that sell-through rate, that is going to tell you exactly how many new items you need to be listing in your eBay store to achieve your income goal. For example, if your sell-through rate is 25%, that means that you need to list 4 times more than you plan to sell in order to achieve your income goal. So if you're working off of the business model of selling 100 items at a $10 profit per item sold, then that would mean that you would need to list 400 items a week in order to sell 100 items. And yes, that is absolutely crazy to think about, but this is the part where I say that does not last forever. But that is a formula that you would have to use when you are getting started listing on eBay. And the reason why I'm telling you this is because I don't want you to have the expectation that you are going to start off making the kind of money that you want to make. You don't just wake up one day, start listings item on eBay, and then suddenly start achieving the income goals that you set out to reach. In the very beginning, it's a lot of work. You have to list a lot more items than you sell. And how long that's going to continue is going to vary greatly based on the kind of merchandise that you're selling and the amount that you're listing. But that basic math equation is just to give you an idea of what you're going to need to achieve. So if your sell-through rate is 25%, you're going to have to start off listing about 4 times what you sell in order to build up your eBay store to create a consistent income for yourself. And I have to say again that this is just an example. Results may vary. Just because I say you have to list 4 times the amount that you sell does not mean that that's going to be true for everybody. Again, it's going to vary based on the kind of merchandise you're selling, your price points. There's going to be a lot of factors that go into it. This is just an example. Let's say your eBay store goes from 0 items to 2,000 items in a 90-day period. When you always have 2,000 items available for sale, at that point you probably won't have to list as much every single week because there's already going to be so many active items on the platform, which means that you can maintain your 25% sell-through rate without having to list 4 times the amount every single week. Another question that I get really frequently is how many items you need to have listed in order to have consistent daily sales. So now that's a really hard question to answer. However, I can give you a basic rough guideline to follow. Seems like a typical daily sell-through rate for average sellers is about 0.5 to 1% a day. So that means that a typical eBay seller is getting 5 to 10 sales per day with 1,000 items listed in their eBay store. And now keep in mind, I did say average. There are many eBay sellers that will do less than that with 1,000 items, or they will do a lot more than that with 1,000 items. It, of course, depends on the kind of merchandise you're selling, the price points, and the categories that you are selling in. But when you are first starting out, that is a good rough guideline to give yourself. If you're wanting to sell 10 items a day at a minimum, you're looking at having a store containing about 1,000 to 1,500 items on eBay. And then, of course, once you start the process, you are able to figure out your own sell-through rate and then readjust your goals based on your own personal numbers. And then, of course, if you're not looking to make $1,000 a week, you can scale down. For example, let's say you're just wanting to make an extra $100 a week to help pay for groceries, or if you just need an extra $100 a week in order to help pay your car off. Then you would just take those figures and you would just do 1/10 of it. For example, you would only sell 20 items at a $5 profit per item, or 10 items at a $10 profit per item. You can use those examples to scale up or down whatever fits your personal goals. I know when I personally started as an eBay seller, I was just looking to make an extra 50 or $100 a week. I was perfectly content with sending out, 20 packages every single week, making $5 profit per package sold. And then over the course of time, I just slowly chose to scale up my business and turn it into a full-time income. There is no wrong way to have a reselling business. There is nothing wrong with having low profits. Just because you only average $2 profit per item sold, that does not mean that you're doing a bad job. That still means that you're making profit. It is personalized to you, your abilities, and your needs. Every single dollar that you can generate in profit is precious. And I truly believe that being a reseller is an amazing thing because you are generating an income for yourself where no job previously existed. So if you're wanting to get started reselling, the first thing you need to do is evaluate your sourcing ability and what kind of business model you want to have. All right, that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video and videos like it, please do give it a thumbs up. That way I know and I can continue to make content like this. Don't forget to leave any questions or comments down in the comments below. Are you currently a reseller? Are you looking to become a reseller? Let me know down in the comments below. If you're looking to become a reseller, what kind of income are you wanting to generate for yourself? Let me know. If you're a current reseller, let me know what your sales are currently like. Tell me down in the comments below. Don't forget to check the video description. I will put a lot of useful tools in there for you guys. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button and ring the bell. That way you'll be notified whenever I post a new video. Thank you again so much for watching, and I will see you guys with my next video. Bye-bye.